Welcome to this Orangebeard update on Workspaces. To begin, let's start with a small recap on what Orangebeard is and what we're trying to solve with Orangebeard. So we see a couple of problems in automation these days. We are automating more and more test cases, and we are not really getting a better insight in what our green or red test cases mean. We have a lot of small cases, a lot of test cases with the potential to fail, and knowing what's important and what's less important is sometimes hard. We also see that the feedback loop on testing is still pretty long. When a test run is run, then somebody has to analyze what has gone wrong, find all the defects and analyze them, see what exactly happened and what the priorities are. This takes a lot of time, and we're trying to help you in getting your defect analysis a bit smarter and a bit faster. We also know that it's hard to find the required people to do defect analysis. Lots of test tools, all of them reporting in their own specific fashion. One day you're looking at console logs, the other day you're looking at a nice HTML report. Sometimes it's an Excel sheet. Every tool reports in a different fashion, and it takes time to understand where to go and what to look for. All in all, we see the testing is still a bottleneck in a faster time to market. When we have automated pipelines, CI/CD pipelines, we still see that a lot of testing is done in those pipelines, and it's not always optimized. Taking more than 50% of your pipeline usage for just doing the tests, while all you were trying to do was really software. And of course, testing is important, but we think it can be smarter. So what are we trying to achieve? We provide one place for all of the test output, be it a unit test from JUnit or some end-to-end test from Rex or Tosca or whatever test tool you're using, or anything in between, API testing using Postman or SoapUI, or simple WebDriver tests using WebDriver.io. Everything in the same place, in the same style. So simple reports, all your history in one place, easy to audit, and easy to report on. We also do automated defect analysis. So if something goes wrong in your test, you analyze it and you determine that it was a test data issue, or your automation was not up to speed, or maybe you found a bug. You do your analysis, you write down what you found, and the next time it happens, and that can be tomorrow, but it could also be next year, next time the same situation occurs, Orangebeard will tell you what your last analysis was. It saves you a lot of time finding out what happened. It's a collective memory. So what to do? To be able to do the above, we need to connect every tool and standardize its output, which is a lot of work, but it's not that hard because a test case is basically something with a start and an end time, a status, and some logging. So we can pretty much make every test tool report in the same fashion to Orangebeard. Another thing we're working on, it's what we call the auto test pilot, is we're trying to learn from the previous test runs to optimize the future. What we do is have a look at what you changed and what kind of tests that warrants. Looking at relationships between tests and components in your software that have changed. These components can be anything that has a version number. So it can be a method or a class. It could be a part of your software. It could be a service. It could be a system in a chain of systems. Anything you can version, you can define as a component. And when we find that tests start behaving different, taking longer, failing instead of passing, passing instead of failing, producing different logs, we can link those tests to the component that has changed. And the next time you change that component, a test case that started behaving differently the last time, will get a higher priority in your testing. This way you can choose to run the most important test first, or maybe only run the tests that seem to have any importance, and that way speed up your pipeline time significantly. So zooming in to the insight that we want to give. So we're connecting every tool, standardizing the output, and we're trying to provide a shared insight in quality and improve your team performance. We came to the point where we run into larger projects with our customers, larger projects or programs where we have multiple projects that share a relationship inside Orangebeard. Happens when you have multiple teams or bigger projects and you want to report on a higher level. So providing that insight on a higher level than just the project, we want to be able to quickly see what the status of all of our different projects is. We want to know why tests are failing. So are we seeing tests fail because our automation is not up to speed? Or are we seeing tests fail because there are bugs in the project? Any of those reasons can be valid. It can be a reason to start doing something about your process. It can be a reason to redo your product. But in order to make that decision, you need to know why it happens. So how we can help with that is by introducing the concept of workspaces. And that's what I would like to show you today. We're going to move to Orangebeard. And currently we have an overview on the project level. So if we select a project, we have the project drop down. You can select a different project and have an overview on what's happening inside the project. So we have an insurance project, and we have an API test and some unit tests, and it's the status on the project. So when we go to loans, we see that there's a bunch of test runs. We go to the overview, we have acceptance tests and API tests and unit tests, which is a nice overview, but it's all scoped to just the level of the currently selected project. So say when you are a bank, you may want to add a banking app workspace. So we add that workspace, call it our banking app, and our banking app consists of a bunch of projects. We have a compliance project, an insurance project. We also have a service that does something with investments. We are doing something with loans. It's a project we were just looking at. And we're doing something with payments, maybe. And also, of course, every bank has a website. So these are multiple projects, all reporting multiple test runs. And we now combine them into one workspace. Well, if we now reload Orangebeard, we have the workspace in our project selection. So instead of going to those projects from the All Projects menu, we now see our banking app workspace and then the projects below. We can still navigate to a different project by clicking them just like before, but we can also click the banking app workspace. And now we get a workspace overview for this application with the default time span of today. Let's make it a bit longer to have some more data in the workspace overview. And what we see now is the status of all of the test runs within these projects in the last 2 weeks. So we see that overall, about 70% of our test runs are passing, so 30% is not. We have a bunch of issues, and they are for about 25% automation issues. We found a few bugs, have a system issue, and we still have some investigation to do. So very quickly, we can see what's happening inside this workspace. We can drill down to the project itself. So if we look at the compliance project, 85% is passing. We have some issues, only 3. 2 of them are system issues, and 1 still needs investigation. Insurance, we have this overview as well, investments and loans. And looking at these different projects for the website, we can see that out of the 12 issues, we have 5 of them are automation issues. So our automation is not completely reliable here, which is something to talk about maybe with the team. Now, if you click one of those cards, you can drill down into the project, go to the overview that we already had, and from there go further into the specifics of these test cases. So we want to go to the unit test. One of them has failed, and we can investigate what happened. Well, we expected a specific value, and it was something else. We have a stack trace, and we can figure out what happened. Same goes for the API tests, which is a different test tool, but it does report in the same kind of fashion. We still have the suites, we have the test cases. We can drill down what happened. We see that it did a request, it got a response, and then it tried to validate something. It expected success to deeply equal pass. So basically, I think we have an automation issue in our other hands here. So hopefully having these workspaces will help you report on your projects a bit quicker. And that concludes the demonstration. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.